You may be Jewish yourself, or have Jewish neighbors who look like this, or this, or this. No matter how they look, all Jews are part of a single nation with ancient roots that go all the way back to biblical times. And to understand what Judaism is all about, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. The very beginning. It all starts with God. Now, let's get this out of the way. When I talk about God, I don't mean this guy. God has no body, no gender, no limitations. He created everything we see and everything we don't see. The stuff we like and the stuff we don't like. The story of Judaism begins way before there was Judaism, in a time when people worshipped nature or idols made out of stone and metal. Everyone thought that was normal. But there was a little kid named Abraham, and he realized that these idols were fake and powerless. When he grew up, he and his wife Sarah started pushing this radical ideology called Monotheism, or one Godism. God chose them and their children to continue this special legacy and dwell in a designated homeland known today as the Land of Israel. Abraham had 2 sons, and then Isaac had 2 sons, and then Jacob also had 2 sons, plus 10 more sons. And those 12 sons, together with their children and grandkids, became known as the 12 tribes of Israel. This family, made up of the 12 tribes, had to leave their homeland and ended up as slaves in Egypt. Why? It's a long story, but let's just say some rainbow coats and sibling rivalries were involved. The population exploded, and before too long, this family sprouted into a nation. 210 years later, God freed them from slavery. After 40 years of wandering in the desert, they made it to the Promised Land, where for the first time they could serve God together as one nation, their own language, their own government, and their own customs. Now, all of these stories are recorded in the central text of Judaism, the Torah. The Torah comes directly from God, who taught it to Moses and the whole nation. Moses wrote it down, and that's why the Torah is also called the 5 books of Moses. The Torah is written in Hebrew, and it's jam-packed with stories. But it's not just a history book. The word Torah actually means instruction, and that's mostly what the Torah deals with. There are 613 laws, or mitzvahs, written in the Torah. For Jews, these laws are binding, and they permeate every aspect of our lives, from the way we get married or divorced, to the way we eat, and even how we tie our shoes. For example, kosher. You've probably heard the word kosher before, or at least you've seen it written on a jar of pickles. But what does it mean? Kosher is God's special diet for Jewish people. There are certain species of animals that we're not supposed to eat, like pigs or shellfish. And for the animals we can eat, there's a specific method for slaughtering it, making sure all the blood is removed, and stuff like that. The Torah also says not to mix meat with milk or dairy products, so in a kosher home, meat and dairy are kept completely separate. Same goes for kosher restaurants and factories that make kosher products. Another famous mitzvah in the Torah is the mitzvah of Shabbat, the 7th day. In the beginning, God spent 6 days creating the universe and rested on day 7. So the Torah commands us to also rest on the 7th day and take a day off from all types of work, from sunset on Friday until nightfall on Saturday. It's the holiest day of the week, and by leaving our cell phones behind for 25 hours, we can experience the true spiritual power of Shabbat. Giving tzedaka, charity, is also a big one. The Torah teaches us that everything we have comes from God, and when we use our money and our time to help those in need, we are, in a sense, repaying some of God's blessings. Actually, the word tzedaka doesn't literally mean charity. It means just or right. So when we give tzedaka, we're not only donating our stuff to be nice, we're allocating God's resources to the right places. It's just part of our job. Visiting the sick, honoring your parents, not wearing certain types of fabrics, the list goes on. Along with the text, God gave us a system for understanding what the Torah means. That system is called the Oral Torah, because it wasn't originally written on a scroll, but rather transmitted orally from generation to generation. The Oral Torah was discussed and debated over centuries by the most brilliant Torah experts, or rabbis. And eventually, it was also written down and compiled into a large corpus of books known as the Talmud. One of the first things you'll notice about the Talmud is that unlike the written Torah, the Talmud is full of questions. What time does Shabbat begin? Why do we celebrate Hanukkah? When did the book of Job take place? How many daughters did Jacob have? These questions don't always have straightforward answers, and many are still debated today. So every Jewish community has a local rabbi who's well-versed in the Talmud and is able to provide background and guidance on any Jewish question that comes up. We spend a lot of time studying the laws of the Torah and trying to understand its details, because we want to make sure we're living exactly the way God wants us to. But there's also a deeper reason. The commandments aren't just beautiful rituals. Each mitzvah is a profound connection to God, endowing our lives with deep meaning, joy, and purpose. Jews pray 3 times a day, evening, morning, and afternoon. The idea is to connect and foster a relationship with God. The world is dark and problematic, so God challenged us, the people, to help him perfect it. When we do a mitzvah, pray, or study Torah, we reveal a little more of God's light and power into the world around us. And as we bring more and more light into the world, we're getting closer and closer to the era of Mashiach, a time of peace, prosperity, and divine awareness. Mashiach. Ever hear the word Messiah before? That's where it comes from. A Jew is anyone with a Jewish mother, or anyone who converts to Judaism the way Jewish law prescribes. But when you look around, you might notice that some Jews seem to be more committed to observing the laws of the Torah than others, at least on the surface. But what's important to keep in mind is, no matter how religious or observant a Jewish person may be, they are and always will be Jewish. Some Jews might even claim to believe in other religions, or no religion at all. In God's eyes, they will always be a part of the Jewish nation. So what about people who aren't Jewish? Is Judaism not for them? Well, they don't have to keep kosher or observe Shabbat, or keep most of the 613 commandments. But interestingly, there are 7 commandments which God addresses to all humanity. Unlike most religions, Judaism is not evangelical. If you meet a rabbi on the street, he probably won't try to convert you or convince you that Judaism is the only way to get into heaven. Because for us, it's not about what happens in the afterlife, but rather what we do here on planet Earth. God created this place because he wanted us, each of us, to be a part of his story. Judaism isn't just a religion because if you're not religious, you're still Jewish. It also isn't just a race or a heritage because Jews come in all races. So what is it? It's the revolutionary idea that if we pay attention, we can use the world around us to connect to God. And we can, as a team, transform this imperfect universe into a place where God's holiness can be felt and experienced, one mitzvah at a time.